the old sport. And thanks for listening to the Burble this week. My name's Benny.
Are we wrapping up?
No, it's the sports section. There's no sport. Sport is gone. There is no sport.
Hang on a minute. There is something to talk about sport.
Oh, yes.
And that is America. The Americans have cancelled everything. That's fine. But, however, though, when there was nothing to watch, the Americans all of a sudden go, what's live football I could watch? And they tuned into the AFL. They tuned into Australia's AFL, our game, the Aussie rules, and were blown away by it.
I bet they were.
A lot of Americans go, I don't know what's going on, but I love it.
Hang on, they're not wearing helmets.
They're not wearing sleeves. They're very tall.
Your sleeves.
Yeah, your sleeves. They were intrigued and they loved it. Yeah. They absolutely loved it. They didn't know the rules, but by the end of it, so they went and looked at the rules and seeing what they could make of it. And now, what the big thing is that YouTube is actually seeing a swarm of people from the United States trying to learn the rules of
AFL.
AFL. And now they're watching all these videos of where Americans react
to AFL,
massive,
the big hits
and the massive marks and all that kind of thing. And they're like going, why is our sport, the NFL,
so pussy?
Pads, helmets, all that kind of stuff.
There's like 24 blokes on this field just beating each other up.
These guys smash the shit out of each other and then
they walk up their backs and jump off their heads.
Yeah, they do. And then they'll throw the ball up and then it all starts again. Or they'll throw the ball 65 yards from like the outside ring and all that kind of thing. They can't.
I bet they've never seen anyone kick like that before either.
No, they can't understand it. They just don't understand it.
Few of our AFL stars get poached by the NFL to be kickers?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Michael Dixon, for example, for Seattle Seahawks, used to play in the AFL and can kick, and he's now a kicker. He actually is a punter for Seattle Seahawks. Whole bunch of AFL players have made it into the NFL based on their kicking ability. Then you have a look at the NRL, for example. I think that, Jared Hayne, I don't want to mention his name because he played in a couple of preseason games for the 40.
He was like on the reserve team, wasn't he?
No, he played a couple of preseason games for the 49ers, no regular season games.
But those teams have got like 100 people in them, though.
An NFL team actually has 54.
Exactly.
So
he was 55.
Valentine Holmes was signed to the Jets, and then he was signed to the practice squad and didn't want to stay there. So now he's back with the Cowboys, I believe, Australia. But, fat good that did him. No money earned because no sports happening. As during the war years, especially World War II, the greatest thing that people could do is they would bet on anything that they could get their hands on.
Yep.
We're talking 2-up. We're talking...
flies on a wall.
Yeah, flies on a wall.
Pickle races at Macca's.
Well, in the later years, you could do that. Yeah, exactly. Snails.
Ropey jets on the booth wall.
But now we've got nothing to watch. I want to touch on really quickly one sport that actually is trying to move forward and actually do something in terms of their sport, being it's suspended thus far, and that is in Australia, the supercars. Because now they've signed all drivers in the regular season of the supercars up, and all of them have got racing simulation gear in their house. They're going to do an E-Series, which has no bearing, obviously, on Twitter,
and
it's going to be broadcast on Foxtel. It's going to be on Foxtel. And
F1's doing the same thing.
Well, F1's now actually taken it up because of supercars.
Yeah.
They went, wow, that's actually kind of smart. Rad, let's do that.
Now, can I really quickly interject here?
Sure, I need to sit. Go for it.
Now, look at all you out there in the 80s and the 90s that said video games will rot your brain. Video games are bad. Video games are shit. Oh, you can't play video games. Well, look at us now. Gamers, we're
relying on that shit.
That's all we've got. You want me to spend 2 weeks at home in quarantine? I've got 58 games to finish.
I need to play games, you
Exactly. And now I'm back. So anyone that thinks video games are bad, you.
Yeah!
Like, honestly, when the whole social distancing and quarantining and self-quarantining came in, me and a lot of other people that play video games a lot just went,
yeah!
Well, not that. I just would have went, and this is the moment we've trained for, gents. Don't let us down. But anyway, look, esports is going to explode. And yes, you can do that while playing esports, while driving if you want.
Now, how good is that? Scott McLaughlin.
Right.
Seems all straight-laced and nice guy and all that kind of thing. I bet you behind closed doors, though, he's a fervent swearer. I bet you behind closed doors, he is an absolute shit nugget of a person. Now, I unmuted you at the wrong time.
I know you did.
Well, you wanted a sip, so I muted you.
That's fine.
You could be like that, and then everyone else could be. But
Do you reckon they got a delay on the esports and someone with a button?
Don't know. I don't know how they're actually going to run it, actually, but they're at home, and McLaughlin likes to get on the
Cans?
the simulator,
Well, a lot of them do now.
and they will make sure that they're race ready.
They test the setups on the tracks because iRacing and what they use is good enough to sort of plug in the numbers, and the physics is that good that you can test car setups.
And what they do is they also have there's a Bathurst 1000 and there's a 12-hour that uses the track because the track's been,
Laser mapped.
as of a lot of tracks have been laser mapped on iRacing, and they get on there and they will actually race. They'll actually take a USB of their preferred settings, real race
car
track
settings, and plug it into the simulator.
Bang, and they've got the car settings.
It's great.
Which is great. I do question, though, that, like, one of the things, especially at the Bathurst 1000, one of the big things is always the hovering question of the weather.
Oh, yeah. You can randomise that on iRacing as well.
Yeah, I know that, but Mount Panorama is a cruel mistress.
Oh, yes.
And I'm stealing your quote. You said that.
Yes.
Cruel mistress. You said that many, many moons ago. Now, but how do they deal with three, like, if they're going to do practice, qualifying, racing in this COVID-19 era that we're in, how do they make sure that they've actually got like a weather simulation in iRacing that is true and
I don't know.
factual?
Maybe they've got someone that's controlling the race, like, the techie guy that just goes, I feel like some rain.
Is that Tim Schenken, the race director?
Oh, I don't know. He's too busy taking big fat wads of cash off that American racing guy, isn't he? The one that's got those stupid pregnant
Where's
looking
the
Mustangs.
X-Files theme? I need the X-Files theme. But like, no, so all of them are signed up for it. However, though, can I tell you this as Scott McLaughlin and Team Penske.
There's the American moneybags guy.
Team Penske, Shell V-Power Racing, Team Penske are quite quick on the track. Let's see it convert.
To bits and bytes.
To bits and bytes, because I know for a fact that Shane Van Gisbergen and a whole bunch of different people on iRacing regularly jump on there, and it is the real person and races against normal people to test his skills and all that kind of thing. Now, I don't know if Scott does it a lot or goes into public forums or the public, what do you call it, room forum?
Oh, like the lobbies and stuff like that.
And all that kind of thing. I actually think that SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, Red Bull Racing, car number 97, may actually smash this out.
Well, it'd be good to watch. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see whether it sticks after the smoke's cleared and sport comes back into physical again sport, whether e-sport will have a larger presence just due to the fact that everyone kind of went, you know what, this isn't just for kids. And that's my main argument about people that say video games rot your brain and it's stupid and it's childlike. Yeah, it used to be with your Atari 2600 back when you were still cool, Karen, but the world has moved on. Gaming is now a massive industry. Now, actually,
I have an Atari 2600.
Yeah, but that's because we're gamers, not because whatever. Anyway.
My name's not Karen.
I'm not looking at you.
Us.
But I wonder if it's going to stick. Like, will there be more e-tournaments? Like,
well, there is. Like, I remember.
I know there's a lot of them now, but
there's a Madden one. I think one of the most technical, like motor racing can be very, very technical as in terms of an esport kind of thing.
Yep.
However, though, let me tell you that last year during, I think it might have been just after the Super Bowl last year, not this year, but last year, then Madden, which is the long-running EA Sports franchise for American football, Gridiron, which is a highly technical game. If you don't understand the game, if you don't understand the plays, if you don't understand the formations, if you don't understand that it's going to utilize every single button on your PS4 or Xbox controller, if you don't understand that, it's probably not the game for you. Because it is so technical. There is at least 13 to 14 different commands you can punch in at least 15 seconds to run a play, and you may only get 4 yards, but the game goes on because it's in simulation mode. The same with racing. Most of the racing wheels you get these days, and some of the best do come from, say, Motec, Logitech, all that kind of thing. They have a ton of buttons on them.
Oh, God, yeah. They've got all the buttons. It's like basically a real steering wheel that's been janked into a computer.
Pretty much.
And they've got, all the brake preheaters and the fancy shit.
And you can adjust the brake bias and you the roll bars.
Yeah, you get all the accessories and the gear shift. And
the gear shifter and all that kind of stuff. I have one. I have the G29 Logitech and the gear shifter. I've made modifications to it, and I even at one point had it raised up so it was near the steering wheel, so it was like a V8 supercar. So I had to go and grab it to be able to race and do all that kind of thing. It's not a reclining sort of deal or anything like that, but it works, and we've taken it to Mount Panorama when we've camped up there for the 12-hour. Remember that?
I do.
Do you remember the time where we basically tried to get a hyper souped-up go-kart break the 2-minute mark around Mount Panorama, and we actually did it? Like, it's great to be able to do those kind of things, but motorsport, though, is one thing where you can actually broadcast it, where they're able to feed into a headset to the driver wherever they are. So Scott McLaughlin's at home in New Zealand.
Yep.
I'm assuming, or Gizzy or all that kind of thing.
Basically exactly the same chatter you get from the pits. You can do all of it electronically.
But they don't talk to the drivers like they used to as. Like Mike Raymond would go, Peter Brock, take us on a lap around Mount Panorama. And he'd be like, well, you're going to third here and blah, blah, blah. They don't do it anymore because they're trying to concentrate on winning races. And for me, now I'm a bit like, this is great as a spectacle. Spectacle only. If this becomes the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 replacement, I will be very disappointed.
But it can become a supplementary to normal sports. Why can't we see more esports?
Well,
why don't we see the Capcom World Cup, like the Street Fighter Championships and the Tekken Championships?
But that's not the sports we love, bruz.
Oh, it's the sports I love.
I know it's the sports you love, but like, say, for example, we want the NRL, all right? NRL went 2 rounds. Kaput.
Yep.
Coronavirus, okay?
AFL got 1 in?
1.
Yep.
They started a week after. But then again, at the point, though, they're saying that it's postponed.
That's what the NRL have said as well.
Postponed.
Yeah, everything's postponed. Nothing's being cancelled.
No.
And I love that the world has just gone, look, shit's yo, but we're not going to cancel anything. We're just going to move it. We're going to just say, look, 6 months' time, this should all blow over and we would be laughing. And I like that. It's not a fatalistic attitude.
Well, we hope.
Exactly. Hope.
We hope.
Hope is powerful.
Hope is powerful. It can't replace it because you can't do FIFA. You can't do, like, players are players. They don't know how to use the average controller.
Okay. Maybe I'll take a different track then. Maybe this will legitimize video gaming a little more then.
Yeah, I kind of agree, yeah.
Okay, so that's what I may be saying. So maybe it's not seen as, computers and video games are all about the the guy on that episode of South Park. Remember him, the fat gamer in his mum's basement covered in Cheeto dust?
Yes.
The stereotype. I really want that to break away a little bit and just go,
But, hey, wait.
you know what?
You need to